Thank you, Jody. Thank you so very much. I'm just extremely proud to be standing here and want to thank my Texas colleagues that went down there. We had a total of probably 12 or 13 of us that went down to the border for this trip and went to the Rio Grande Valley and made numerous stops along the way. We visited with DEA. We visited with the Coast Guard. We visited with the National Guard troops. We saw a lot of the facilities and infrastructure there on the border. We saw with our own eyes just exactly how terrible and exposed this border is to all levels of problems that have been foisted upon the American people by the, whether you call it ignorance or foolishness, but the rolling back of the Trump policies, which after the 2019 surge that we had at the border under President Trump, they implemented some great policies that absolutely worked. And so the Trump people that with DHS and with ICE and a number of his professionals, a couple of which even went down with us. We had Tom Homan and Mark Morgan with us. Very happy to have them there and their expertise. The professionals, they said over and over again, they had meetings and actually with Mr. Cuccinelli, who spoke with us this morning. I'm the Border Security Caucus co-chairman, and we had Mr. Cuccinelli come speak with us this morning, and he said over and over again, the Trump officials told the Biden officials in these transitional meetings, please do not reverse these policies. You will open this border up for a crisis, for a catastrophe, and they did not heed those warnings. And so when we got down to the border, and we absolutely saw with our own eyes some of the things that mainstream media, I hate to say it, have not been reporting on, it was quite an eye-opener, to say the very least. And we also want to say that not only were there 12 or 13 of us and some professionals that went along with us, 13 of us Texas colleagues, representatives in the U.S. House, but we also invited Vice President Kamala Harris to come as well. We sent her a letter signed by, there, he's got a copy of that letter right there. Jody and I both signed this letter inviting her to come, since she was handed off as the new czar, Biden's new czar of border security. And here we are, we're closing in on 4 weeks since she has taken the reins of czar of the border security, and we have not seen nor heard from her. I don't think, at least my office never received any response from her office, and I don't think we did. But she needs to be down there. And if she's going to be the border security czar, she needs to be there. But never have we seen, and the professionals will tell you this, never have we seen the numbers and the crisis like we're seeing on the southern border of the United States of America. And to think that just a year ago, we were in the best economy that we had had in 50 years. And then suddenly we have this pandemic, and we have a change of administrations. And now, in just a short period of time, we go from highly secured and controlled border with great policies that help to implement this to now wide open. And we saw numbers down there that would just knock your eyes out. 173,000 illegal immigrants came across the border in March alone. 19,000 of which were unaccompanied minors. And we went and saw these facilities for ourselves. And it was quite an eye-opener, I should say, when we walk into the Donna facility, where the border, detention center at Donna, and we saw a facility that has capacity for 250 individuals. These are unaccompanied children. There were 5,700 kids in this facility. 5,700. This was several weeks ago when we were there. I'm not sure what it is now. But our system, our infrastructure for our border security is simply not built for these types of numbers. Why do we have these numbers? Because we have an open border with a blinking neon sign, figuratively, out there that says, welcome, come on in. You step 1 foot over and you'll get to stay, and you'll get on public assistance. And you bring a kid under 6 years old or under. If you're an unaccompanied child, he comes in, and catch and release was reinstituted, and all the great policies that we saw from the Trump administration have been reversed. And so what is it? What has actually happened down there? As Jody said, the cartels have been re-empowered. They are making tens of millions of dollars, not only off of the drugs that are coming across, which kill, by the way, 70,000 plus Americans each year in overdoses, but also in human trafficking, the horror of human trafficking that goes on down there. And each one of these individuals has paid the cartels to come across. If they don't pay, many times they pay with their own lives. That's what happens. We are spending $60 million per week on our HHS facilities down there. We have an $86 million contract for hotels to house these individuals that are coming across. It is incredible to think what we're spending on our border when we have veterans that are homeless. We have people that we can't even take care of here, and we are taking these children in, and your heart has to go out to these children to see this happening, and realizing that their parents simply have either sold them, turned them over to someone else. It's a rent-a-child. We've seen videos where kids come through repeatedly with different families, as these are considered to be family units. And let me tell you something. Open borders are anything but humane and compassionate. Anything but that. We have a level that we've never seen before. And I want to conclude by saying that President Trump, after the surge in 19, had dozens of negotiated deals and treaties, not treaties, but agreements with the Northern Triangle countries down there, and they worked. He worked a deal with President Lopez Obrador in Mexico. We have to thank Mexico for really helping us secure that border during those last 2 years of President Trump's administration. So what is the solution? The solution is to reinstate those policies. Even though I know Mr. Biden, President Biden, and Democrats, we know you don't like President Trump, but it worked. These things absolutely worked. We have to reinstate these Trump policies to disincentivize the lure of these people to come across our border. We have to reinstitute Title 42, public health restrictions. During a pandemic, we saw COVID rampant in HHS facilities and CBP facilities down there. And under President Trump and Title 42, these people were turned back. We have to disincentivize and reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy, so that we have safe third countries that they can stay in when they're seeking asylum in our country. We have to reinstitute the National Emergency Declaration. And above all, we saw it with our own eyes. Finish the wall. Finish the border wall, because it works. We saw this administration currently and the House Speaker that put a 7-foot steel wall miles around this complex here on the campus of our national treasure, our U.S. Capitol, and with coils of razor wire and 26,000 National Guard troops. And yet Ms. Pelosi says the walls are immoral, and I'm glad to see some of these coming down, but they still need to come down. They need to come down, and this needs to go down to the border where it is absolutely necessary to have. So this is what we can do. The American people need to talk to this president, need to force the hand of this president and the vice president, who is the border security czar, and the House and the Senate majority leadership, and reinstitute this. This is a danger to the American people, and as Jody said, It is an abdication of Mr. Biden's constitutional duties when he swore allegiance to uphold the law. I think not enforcing the law is just as bad as breaking the law. And this is what's happening on our border. So with that, I will turn this over to the next one. Or Joe, do you want to come in and introduce them?